Hello, this is Tiara,
Hello, this is Ali.
and this is the Goddess Vibration. Welcome back. So, I just want to share because I'm really proud of myself that I upgraded my audio. It doesn't sound like I'm recording outside on a mountaintop anymore. Not that you guys can notice because, I did my best in post production. We're a small little group here. So, everything we do is us. Um, but I did take the plunge and upgrade to a new interface, and it sounds so good. It sounds so much better that I'm really embarrassed about what I used last time. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because, I have my sentiments around
There's you can definitely hear the mic quality, especially pre-production.
it. Right. I'm just like, damn, we did that. Anyway,
I didn't
uh,
do that, you did that.
all right, I sure did because my cheap ass was not gonna splurge for another interface. But eventually, I knew I was gonna have to, so I did. I did it for you guys because I love you guys. Speaking of you guys, I was looking at some of the analytics when it comes to listenership, and so many of you guys are in Colombia. And I just want to give a shout out to the Colombians for listening to us and spreading the word because we love that. Love it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. We're going to see where we can take this. I would like to get us into more countries. And I think maybe as I travel next year, hopefully I'll meet some people who are into spirituality and see if we can get more people across the globe because that's really cool.
That is so cool. And now I'm like, man, should we be like recording in Spanish? Like, I have these thoughts. But no, I
Yeah,
just
I'm
thought that
not
was really,
recording
really
in Spanish. That's definitely not happening.
yeah, I thought you'd like that. Um, but no, yeah, I just think that's so awesome, and I'll be there next year. So I'm hoping maybe like, get more people to listen and kind of gauge some sentiments. And, it would be so, so cool if I could align with someone who's a listener, because then I could be like, pick your brain a little bit about the show and kind of get your perspectives. And there's just so much that, we could do with that. But I just wanted to thank you guys because I just thought that was really cool.
Agreed. So I think today I've been wanting to get into this for a while, and we're gonna talk about some new age bullshit.
Yes, no, that's the title of the episode.
And it all stemmed from a TikTok that Tiara found that I'm gonna let her explain it because I think she's followed the story much more closely than I have.
For you guys that are on social media or that use TikTok, you know that there's like different sides of TikTok. You've got like your book talk, and then you've got like horror talk, and then there's spirituality talk. Well, in spirituality talk, there is apparently there are a couple people who have pretty large followings that are spiritual individuals, and they offer services and coaching and guidance, and they're doing the God's work. Well, I came across a TikTok of a woman who claims that she has interacted with someone else on spiritual TikTok and that this guy is a fraud and has been spiritually attacking her and shouldn't be trusted, shouldn't be listened to, that he's manipulated her. And the first TikTok she posted, she didn't say who it was. She was just like, I just want to give this warning that this person is out there and that it's a male. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Haven't seen anything like that on TikTok. Um, so apparently this individual has been has a pretty massive following. The guy that she's talking about, I think he's got like a couple thousand followers, tens of thousands of followers.
No, it was like 400,000.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like 500,000 followers. Okay, so very influential. She posted another TikTok about the same guy, and she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna reveal who it is because in my last video I was guided not to, but I've been guided to do so to protect you guys and to warn you guys." So she outs this guy and is making these claims, and they're claims, mind you, that really can't be proven because again, she's talking about like astral attacks and like curse work and like spiritual manipulation and stuff that's happening, I guess, either subconsciously or in the astral or in 5D. I'm not quite sure. But her claims are they're they're outstanding, right? They're just like, wow. So this guy apparently he responds to these claims and he's just like, I don't know what she's talking about. She paid for 2 sessions with me. I guided her and supported her and helped her. And then she started claiming that I was sexually attacking her energetically and spiritually. Actually, I don't even think he said spiritually. I think he just said that she was making these claims of like sexual attacks and sexual harassment. He didn't clarify whether it was like, him harassing her through direct message or if it was just her making these claims that this is happening on the astral. Um, but anyway, he addresses each of her claims and just says, "This isn't happening. This isn't true. I don't know why she's saying this. I wish her the best. She obviously needs help." And I was just like, "Oh, okay. Well, there is some stuff going on here in spiritual TikTok." So, the thing about it is that like it's crazy because they can't prove either way. I think the only thing that can be proven is that there was an interaction because he actually ended up posting screenshots of their direct messaging. And she was saying things like, "Hey, stop attacking me." And he would be like, "What are you talking about?" So it's just kind of an ongoing story. But again, these guys are quite influential. I think she's got 100,000 followers. So, these aren't small fries. These are people who have followings and people are watching this. And it's just, it taints new age spirituality in a bad light, right? Because now we're seeing people who are of the light or supposed to be of the light attacking each other. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's not necessarily what new age is supposed to be about or should be about. Now, granted, she obviously feels like she's doing something that's needed and necessary. She's claiming this is something she was guided to do. And I can't sit here and be like, judge that or say that that's not the case. I just think that this is the wrong focus when it comes to what New Age is or should be about. And I know that Ali has a lot of strong sentiments outside of that, but that's kind of where this started.
My sentiments are just pretty blunt and clear. And I think New Age spirituality is out of fucking control.
Mm,
And the reason why I think this is because it's really something that you have to teach yourself. And I think people get lost in the ego of it and thinking, like, I have been educating myself for X amount of time, or I have gone on this journey. And, I know that because whether it was successful or not successful, they feel like they can help people in the journey too. And, with social media nowadays, and it's just so easy just to hit that record button and make some videos saying, you want to become this is just an example. You want to become a master manifester like me, then follow me and take these steps. But I have questions.
mm,
I've always had questions, like, how do you know that you're a master manifester? Like,
right.
how do you know that just because you were able to manifest, how do you know that you can get someone else there? Where's the proof might be, well, I achieved it, but it's like, what's the success rate of getting your clients there? Because every person in every case should be looked at differently because you never know what a person is going through. And there is no one straight answer. It's the spiritual journey is not linear. It's not a straight line. And
Mm,
people are like attached, like grasping on to spiritual age being linear, and then they're just like, I'm going to put together this program and it's just going to be a success for everyone. And I'm just like, no, I just don't see it. I have questions, and I just think that people need to be practice discretion. I think people should be more weary. I think people should take a step back. I know that I do that with my clients. Like, I know that I really focus on the individual's journey because it's not one recipe for all of society. It doesn't work that way, if you ask me.
No, I'm in agreement on that. And it's really interesting because, when we start this spiritual journey and we have an awakening or something similar and we look for guidance, we look for certain things. I would hope that most people are looking for certain things, um, like testimonials and like, okay, what does this person say about themselves? But what we really should be using is our intuition because I was right. Like, you don't know if the individuals that are claiming to be what they are that, and there's no way to prove whether they are or not. And that's what gets tricky is because we see people, lose money or get lost in this journey because they've gotten such terrible guidance and advice and they've paid for that. And we see something similar to that with that whole, we've talked about this a couple times, twin flame universe.
Oh,
And what
don't
has
even get me
happened,
started on that.
I know,
I just
what
I
has happened to
watched
those
it.
people?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just have to throw out there real quick. I watched that shit. I don't have Netflix, but it was on Amazon Prime, and so I just sat down and I watched it, and I was like messaging Tiara as I was watching it. And I was like, "What is this shit? Like, what is going on? Like, it's making my brain hurt and making my heart cry. Like,
Right.
it was so. I'm speechless. Like for all the wrong
Right.
reasons. Like it just made my heart cry. The fact that people were like following this and believing this and thinking like, okay, these people can tell me who my twin flame is. These people are going to decide my destiny. These people are going to tell me what gender I'm going to be. These people are going to tell me. And I was like, what's happening? It was
You know,
awful.
no, I completely agree, and it's so funny because when I started my twin flame journey, I stumbled upon that website first, and someone messaged me. I don't know how I ended up getting wrangled into this. I think I like found their group. I don't think I joined the group, but I may have messaged someone in another group who was part of Twin Flame Universe. Because I think I was just looking for guidance, support. I was like, well, should I pay someone? I don't know. So I messaged some girl and, she was telling me about her journey and I was telling her about mine. It seemed cool. And then she was like, oh, well, we should schedule time to chat. And I was like, okay, well, I think I was working full time. So I had to like set aside some time during my lunch. So we chatted and, she was asking me some questions and then she started to pitch like joining this group and coaching and immediate red flag. Like when I say immediate red flag, like total red flag. And I was like, hold on. Like something did not feel right. And I immediately sensed that and I trusted that and I leaned into that. And I was like, nah, I'm good. But, I appreciate the time. Um, she kept pushing too, because, they
Well,
have those sales tactics. She did keep pushing. And I said to her, like, no, this isn't the path I want to go. No, this isn't it. No, no, no. And eventually she stopped. But I did have an interaction with someone from that, whatever they are, and I saw the red flag. And that's what I mean when I say practicing discretion and using your intuition, because that's going to tell you more than anything those individuals are going to say to you.
Well, here's the most heartbreaking thing about the show is that I think people were catching on to something's wrong here. And during their group sessions, like I guess the leaders, especially the man, because he did most of the talking, he just kept saying, like, you're wrong, I'm right. How could you question me? I'm your God.
Right. Using
And I was
manipulation.
like, who the hell says I'm your God? You're nobody's God. Like, I don't know. It made my head spin. It made me angry for a couple days. So that's
Right.
all
And
I have
who
to say about that.
knows? Right. And who knows how many more groups are doing this and we don't even know.
Right.
Um, and so like we wanted to extend a warning to you guys when it comes to this facet of healing and going down that rabbit hole when it comes to spirituality and coaching and guidance is like you really got to harness that intuition. Otherwise, you could get taken down the wrong path. Um, and that's something that I think we're seeing a lot of in New Age. I think it's starting to become like I don't want to say like Ali would probably say cult, but I don't want to say cult. I think that beliefs are linear, and I think that people are latching on to the wrong things.
No, I
And
wouldn't say cult.
okay. Well, I could have swore you said cult earlier, and I was just like, "Oh, cult, okay.
No, I said Twin Flame Universe is a cult.
Got it. Okay, I got confused." I think people are latching on to the wrong things. I think people are glamorizing new age, and they're focusing on love and light, and they're trying to heal, but it's like the way they're going about it is, okay, well, if I pay this person, they'll take away all my problems and I won't have to do any work. And how do I get to the end goal the fastest way? How do I find my twin flame? How do I go about that? Should I pay someone? And I feel like the true focus of what new age should be about, which is introspection and ascension and evolution, is getting lost. And I don't know. I don't know how to like shift people back. I don't know. Um, I did see a really interesting TikTok that Ali sent me about a woman who she had some interesting claims about New Age. She had said that a lot of times what's happening is you see people leaving spirituality or religion and coming to spirituality, and they kind of latch onto some of the New Age beliefs, but they bring some of that rigid, dogmatic focus from religion over to New Age. So they try to apply religious principles to New Age, and it's not something that you can do. I thought it was really interesting. So I could see where she's going with that.
I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that for me, this is just my personal perspective on spirituality and
Yeah.
having grown up in a very spiritual household with a holistic mother, hippie, holistic. So, I mean, I grew up in a very like open-minded house and my mother was I think a hardcore Catholic, not by choice. And then, the second that she turned 18, she just kind of did the hippie thing. And then she found peace and solace in Buddhism. And I know that, so in terms of like pulling from religions into spirituality, I definitely think that there's a piece of that where spirituality can take certain beliefs or practices from other religions. I don't think that it is this or that. I think, you know, in spirituality, a lot of people are referencing the Bible, and especially in New Age nowadays, like, the book of Revelations and the book of Enoch. And I've never even read the Bible, but I see it all over TikTok. I think that, like, something that I know that I resonate most with is, the studies of Buddhism, which is called Dharma. I believe that a lot of their beliefs are pulled from a spiritual journey because, like, Buddhism is really about like all life is suffering and it's about living in the presence and it's about reincarnation of the soul and the soul's journey. And that's what a lot of spirituality is. And so I do think that New Age does pull from these religions.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. But in a sense, you're starting to see, and Ali, you can let me know if you're in agreement, like New Age become its own religion, in a sense.
In a sense, yeah, but this is why I think it's also a much needed discussion because I think people are getting lost in this, and it's, as Tiara had mentioned, and I am in agreement here, this is not what spirituality should be about.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to say that religion and spirituality are completely separate. They're not, because I think religion and spirituality go hand in hand. Um, I just think that what religion is when it comes to humans and, how we went about writing some of these ancient texts is that humans were trying to make sense of spirituality and spiritual concepts. There were things they didn't fully understand. They try to make sense of it. Maybe they receive channelings from higher beings, because I do believe that that happens to a lot of them, and they codify it. But oftentimes, especially nowadays, I think we try to like separate it. Now, I know personally for me, I did start off religious. I was raised Christian. I went to a Baptist church for several years, And then when I started to think critically, I decided that religion wasn't for me personally. Um, I think at some point I went like all the way to the other side and I became atheist and then I was agnostic, like the fence sitter. And then I came back around to spirituality where I eventually end up feeling like, okay, I am a spiritual person. I do believe in God, but I'm not a fan of religion. Whereas there are other people who are religious who are also spiritual and acknowledge that not everything in religious texts should be taken literally. Those people exist because I know of some of them. So it kind of exists on a spectrum. You also have the people who are hardcore religion. Everything in the ancient texts is like taken 100% literally, which is also, again, a mistake in my opinion, but I'm not here to judge people. So it does exist on a spectrum for the most part. I just think that we're just starting to see people who are trying to distinguish themselves from religion and trying to find like a new home. So they're choosing new age. Um, but because they're so used to some of those religious facets and like, dogmatic beliefs, they're bringing that into new age and sort of essentially making it like its own religious belief system. Um, and it's so funny because I think if you look at Wikipedia, Wikipedia says that it's like they don't say cult, but they say like New Age is like some type of I think they do use a religious belief system. I don't think it's that necessarily yet, but I could see why they would say that.
I think we're
Um,
headed in that direction.
no, yeah, I do. It's just I feel like once we start saying, "Oh, religion," it takes focus away from what it's supposed to really be about. And that's why I don't know. I feel sad about heading in that direction. Me personally.
I think that there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I think a lot of people are scared.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of people are either A, sitting in that fear, doing nothing about it, or B, they are looking for some type of meaning in their lives.
Right.
Because
Or answers.
or answers, because with all the shit that's been going on in the world, people are just like, this can't be it. Like, this isn't
Right.
life. This can't be it. And you see this all over social media, like with people just saying, like, people are breaking down in their cars saying, I work 3 jobs and I
Mm,
can still barely put food on the table. And there has to be more to life than this. Like, I feel like I'm a prisoner of my own reality. And I think when people either reach that point, they decide, okay, they're going to make changes, which is great. But it's like you have to be careful when you're ready to make those changes. You have to be careful where you seek refuge.
right.
You just can't grasp onto the first thing that sounds amazing. And I feel like that's been happening. And I mean, we're just seeing it more and more. And as a person of the light, I can't with good conscience not have this conversation.
Right. Um, and it's not unusual for people who are feeling lost to seek out either religion or philosophical beliefs for answers. Um, Now, for some reason in our society, and I'm talking specifically about the West, religion has started to become unfavorable, particularly like Christianity and Catholicism. And I kind of get why. I know that Catholicism specifically has had a lot of scandal, and I think that's put a lot of people off. And so I think that's another reason why we're seeing like this march over to New Age because people want something, but they don't want something that's associated with scandal and the matter that some of these religions have been. And then of course you see things and scandals within like other churches that have done things and pastors that have done things, and it's just like it's hypocrisy all around. And so people might kind of get to this place where I'm like, well, where can I find truth? Where can I find meaning and guidance and support and something that gives my life like more focus? I know that I went through that. Like, I went through before my awakening, actually, and I think this was my star seed. I have a star seed. I actually talked to him or her the other day. She's actually really cool. Um, and I kind of went through this period where I was like, I need the truth because this and the way I'm existing is not the truth. There's more to this. I know there is. I don't know if we live in a matrix. I don't know if I'm being manipulated or lied to by society, but I know that there is more truth to my existence than this. And that's when my journey started. Um, so I get a lot of people who might be at that place, but to be honest with you, the answers that you're seeking are they're only going to come from within. And I know that that's not often what people want to hear, but it's true. It's 100% true that you're only going to find what you need within yourself. You're not going to find that outside of yourself. Now, if you're seeking guidance and support, okay, like that's understandable. Um, but still, like, even if you're in that place where you are looking for external support, you still have to know what proper support looks like and understand the need to practice discretion. And it's just, especially today. And it's unfortunate that that's what we have to do. You know, we shouldn't have to be like, okay, oh, well, this coach, are they a scam? But unfortunately, that's just the society we live in. Now, I did pay for a couple coaches. I think I paid for a Akashic Records reading a couple times, and then I paid for coaching, like business coaching, but they use like a spiritual perspective. So the girl I went to, she used like Oracle and Tarot, um, to kind of to help guide the direction I should go. Funny thing, she was very, and I should have paid more attention to this, like materialistic. And even on her social media posts, she was always talking about, I made this much money. I bought this bag and this purse. Look at this cute outfit because my business is awesome. I can help you get here. And I was like, at the time, I was like, oh yeah, that's where I want to be without like practicing any discretion whatsoever. Um, so my guides, and I'm still convinced to this day that this is my spiritual guidance team doing this. I paid for a session with her and we were going to chat, and for some reason, we tried 3 times and I kept having technical issues that made no sense, like no sense at all.
I
And like
remember this.
I have done this multiple times with other coaches and other people, never had any issues. For some reason, I kept having issues with this woman. And eventually I was just like, you know what? We can't do this. Like, it's just not working. I don't know why it's not working. I am so sorry. And I asked for my money back and she was like, no. And that turned into its own thing that I'm not going to discuss here. But anyway, that's what I mean when I say that sometimes these coaches out there, these guides out there, these people that take new age concepts and they twist it and they package it and they sell it to you to make it look pretty, to make you think that they're going to help you. Sometimes it's just not for your best and highest good. Again, I'm fortunate that my guidance team helped me with that. Um, but yeah, that kind of stuff, it's common. It happens. They're gonna take you for a ride if they can, and it's unfortunate. It really is.
I think another important thing to point out here is authenticity. You really don't know who's authentic anymore.
You don't, and it's
You
so
just
frustrating.
don't. And I've said this in the past in a previous episode about even us. Now I'm gonna tell you, like, I am authentic, and I think that I hope that you can just hear it in my voice. If you ever met me in person too, I meet some of the most interesting people that I don't invite. People just come up and start talking to me, and I think because everyone carries an aura, everyone has an aura. And people are just drawn to certain people, and people are just drawn to me, whether I want them to be or not. Um, and I think a lot of that just has to do with like your aura, your presence. Um, People just energy attracts energy. I've said it once, I'll say it again. And it's really important to pay attention to what type of energy you're attracted to. And that you really need to build up as Tiara said, your intuition. But it's more than that. It's like, it's really important to try to become an energy reader. I think I've been an energy reader my whole life, like ever since I was a baby. And you know, something inside it either attracts people or it repels people. Your energy will either attract or repel. And so you really want to pay attention to those like signs and those signals. And it might not always come from your guide. I wasn't connected to my guide up until this year. I've went my entire life not connecting to my guides and needing to rely on myself. So I know that some people like Tiara are more fortunate in these situations where she was just like, my guides have really, you know, have been there for me. Well, I'm not saying my guides haven't been there for me, but I didn't have the ability to connect to them um, the way that she has. And so really like I credit myself for getting to where I am because I'm not saying that they weren't there not looking out for me. They obviously were. But because I couldn't communicate with them and I didn't know I could communicate with them at the time, I really had to rely on myself.
Mm,
And I think for so many people, I think people are seeking refuge. Like, it's not a fun journey. It's not an easy journey. You don't want to do it alone. I get that. But you really do need to do it alone
mm.
because you need to start trusting yourself and believing in yourself and knowing that you can do it. And I think that it's so impertinent to this journey. And I just feel like so many people either A, don't want to do it alone, which is totally understandable, or B, feel like they have something to lose by doing the journey. And I think that keeps a lot of people from really ascending.
Yes, and ultimately, at the end of the day, when it comes to New Age, like if you go and Google New Age, you're gonna see things about like ascended masters and the archangels and um, ascension. But at the end of the day, it's really about you becoming the best version of yourself. It's not anything else. It's not about you finding your twin flame. It's not about you like becoming rich in abundance. Now, those things might come to you once you've reached your best and highest good, because that's how the universe works. But I think people have the wrong focus sometimes. At the end of the day, a new age journey is about you ascending, evolving, and become the best person and best version that you could possibly be. That is it. It is nothing more than that. And everything else is just distraction and noise. So if you don't take anything else from this episode, please take that because I think it's going to go a long way to protect you when it comes to your journey. And, um, you know, even if you decide to seek out coaching and support, it's going to protect you because a good coach when they share that their focus is in helping you become your best and highest. If it's anything else, or if your intuition is saying to you, hey, this person's not right for me, or if you sense something is off or you get red flags, listen to those because your intuition is never wrong and it will sway you in the right direction. But ultimately, if you're looking for guidance and support, look for someone who like expresses that they're there to help you be your best and highest good, because that ultimately is what the journey is about.
Absolutely. I came across this TikTok a while ago and it still sticks with me. This was like months ago. And the opening line was like, do you want a soulmate? I think that was like the opening question. And the first line of the answer was, if you want a soulmate, then heal your own soul.
Right. That's profound.
And it had stuck with me and it is so profound. I'm just like, there is nothing more right. And it's the simplest words like heal your soul.
Yes.
3 words.
Right. Exactly. Now, I will say about, I hate mentioning them, but I'm going to Twin Flame Universe. I will say that this is how people get lost in this, is because they say things that are true. Like they say things like, if you want to meet your twin flame, you need to ascend and heal. That's true. They will say things like, if you are a mirror to your divine counterpart, twin flame, oftentimes if you're carrying wounding, they might show that to you. That's also true. But what they do is they take it and then they say things like, we can guarantee that you'll find your twin flame. As a matter of fact, if you join this group, your twin flame's in here in this group. And that's where like the distortion happens. That's where, the manipulation starts to happen. So, like any good, I hate to say good cult, cult
Good.
that's like that like wants to like reel you in, they will use truth and then twist it. And they've done that, and they've done it. Unfortunately, they've done it successfully. So I sympathize with the people who have gotten caught up in that and lost in that, like because again, when you're new to the journey, you oftentimes don't know any better. So I can't sit here and bash the people that got lost in that and caught in that. Like I have full compassion and sympathy for them. Um, but that's what these groups will do, and oftentimes you will see coaches do something like that too, especially the ones that are, oh my God, Ali, what is the term? Um,
Um,
imposter syndrome. The ones that have imposter
yes.
syndrome. Yes. Which, interestingly enough, that chick that I was talking about that wouldn't give me my money back had imposter syndrome, but I didn't find out later until I did tarot on her. I've actually stumbled across a couple coaches that have imposter syndrome, which is, I guess, not that unusual, but you really probably shouldn't be coaching if you still have imposter syndrome. But anyway, um, so yeah, so that's what I mean. Like they take the truth, they twist it. It's easy to get roped in and reeled in with that. So again, at the end of the day, if you use like do divination, like tarot or dowsing or Um, what do people use? The runes. If you do anything like that, consider using that before you pay a coach. Because, hey, you might find out something about that individual that will change your mind. You never know.
I don't wanna trigger anyone when I say this.
Uh oh.
Well, I actually did come across in their TikTok a couple days ago, and she had said, sorry, I'm just trying to remember the sentence. Oh, she said that the spiritual journey isn't for the weak.
I'd be in agreement with that.
And I'm absolutely in agreement with that.
Yeah. No, I'm totally in agreement with that. It's not. Not at all. It requires courage. It requires strength, humility, bravery, the ability to look at yourself, um, like from an unbiased perspective. And for whatever reason, most of us can't do that. I don't mean to laugh, but like a lot of people can't do that, and I don't know why.
Well, you do know why. You do know why. Like,
Okay,
let's not
ego,
let's not sugarcoat this. You do know why.
because the ego gets in the way, right?
Yeah, but it's more than just the ego. It's also fear.
Right, of course. But like, I don't know. I was scared, and I still did it. I was terrified, like terrified, and I still did it.
I know, I was too. I've been really doing it my whole life, but I I'm a bad example only just because of my journey, my childhood, my upbringing, the household I grew up in. I just it's kind of my way of life. It's my way of living only because it's really all I knew. My parents never pushed religion on us. They raised us to be all extremely independent. They encouraged us to travel. They encouraged us to figure out who we are without the confines of any ideals or societal pressures. They were just like, "Hey, you guys go be you." And whoever, and they're like, just don't get arrested, but just you guys go be you, discover who you are, discover who you want to be. And I'm realizing, I mean, I'm just realizing it's been a privilege to have that type of freedom.
Yes. And you were exposed to spiritual New Age concepts very young, right?
Very
Yeah. So you kind of had a foundation,
right.
right? Okay.
Um, and so, I mean, I definitely have some advantages there. But this journey is not for the weak. I don't want to trigger anyone. I don't want to offend anyone when I say that, but we've kind of have seen in some people that Tiara and I have worked with, and particularly just this one person, that that um when it comes to them needing to look at themselves, they have been running and avoiding for their entire lives. Throwing everything wrong and everything that happened into a vault, and we are seeing the effects of what happens if you do not process any of that.
Right. It's spectacular. Like I don't know how else to describe that. And I know a lot of people are probably doing that. So
Exactly.
yeah, so many people are probably doing that, and it's just it's sad. Um, but oh my gosh, I wonder if we need a part 2 of this. 'Cause I could go on and on and on. We do this every time we have a podcast episode. We're always like, "Oh my god, I could say so much about this. Should we do a part 2, a part 3, a part 4?"
I mean, it depends on where you want to take this.
Well, I do hope that you guys got something out of this conversation. Um, at least when it comes to understanding what new age should be about. And, Ali said earlier that she's authentic, and she absolutely is. I'm also authentic. So, you guys at least know two people in this new age community who are authentic and who are there to help you and guide you and support you if you want that. So, do also keep that in mind, especially when you're traveling and navigating through this journey and you feel like you need additional support and just don't know who to trust. Hey, we've kind of been around, so feel free to reach out to either one of us. Our contact information is on the website, so we're accessible and available. Even if it's just like, hey, can you point me in the right direction? We can at least do that for you.
Absolutely. I mean, we are here to help people. We went through a very rigorous year this past year. And I actually think of this past year as my like spiritual boot camp.
That's interesting.
Oh, it was a boot camp. It was a straight up boot camp for me. Like everything just kind of got kicked into high gear for me. And as much as I haven't fully enjoyed this past year, I will say that I learned a lot from it. That's why I call it like a boot camp, right? It's like I got thrown so many like different situations, and I really kind of found out who I was, and my spiritual gifts got accelerated at such a fast pace, and I also ascended, and I finished my ascension journey in 1 year, and I went a lot of dimensions. I'm not going to tell you what dimension I'm in currently because I'm still kind of relishing and all of that. But um, yeah, it was definitely a boot camp. Like a lot's happened in just these past 12 months.
Right. And my year in 2023 has been a spectacular clusterfuck, both in 3D and 5D, and my life fell apart. And I'm still building it up, and I have no idea what's in store for me. And I'm still just trying to figure out what to think.
We
So
will
that
have more
happens
for
too.
that next year. Next year, we will have more on what really actually is truly going on in our lives, because in a 5D sense and a 3D sense, it has been one hell of a year.
Right, exactly. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in yet again. For those of you who are new to our podcast, you can find more information about us and how to reach us at www.goddessvibrationstudio.com. That is our primary website. Or, if you know someone who might want to sponsor us, you can go there too and sponsor us. So that's funny. So, yes, thank you guys so, so much. And we may explore further into this topic, but it'll probably kind of be like sporadic mentionings here and there in other episodes. Um, Depending on what goes down between those two individuals on TikTok, it might be its own episode. So we'll see. I'm curious. I'm still following. I'm going to follow that and see what emerges from that because you know,
It's
I'm
intriguing.
nosy. No, it's intriguing, and I'm also nosy, and TikTok drama is entertaining. So I will be following that.
At least she's honest about it. Thank you guys so much. I hope you do take away something from this episode, especially like trusting yourself, because that's really like what I thrive for with my clients is really helping them build their intuition. And I we have so many every time I have a conversation with people, like I have friends who I'll like even have lunch with and they'll be like, "You know what? You're like one of the only people when I go home and you have me thinking about our conversation until like the next day." And I'm just like, "That
Wow.
is so cool." Like I love that.
You should be getting
Um
testimonials.
yeah, I should be. I just like I don't Yeah, I should be.
No, you really should be.
I have some things in store for next year. It's
Okay.
like I said, it's just been this year has been spiritual boot camp and then next year is all about a new focus. So, I'm excited. But thank you guys so much
All right.
and
Thanks, you guys.
have a great week.
All right. Talk to you guys again soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.